PTSD. Claim denied? You may have your PTSD claim denied due to missing DSM-V criteria. The fifth version of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders (DSM-5 or DSM-V) outlines the 8 components of a post-traumatic stress disorder (PTSD) claim. If even one required component is missing, the VA claims examiner will likely deny your claim. Attention to detail is critical in these types of cases. The burden of proof, at least as likely as not, is rather low. So, as long as you can present even a bit of evidence on any point, the VA should find such evidence sufficient. If any of the 8 required components are overlooked at the time of filing, the result will be a likely denial of benefits. These are the 8 required components for a successful PTSD claim. Stressor. Even after all these years, much about PTSD remains unknown. However, researchers do know that exposure to combat stress causes a chemical imbalance in the brain. That exposure could be direct, seeing a fellow service member die or suffer a serious combat wound; indirect, learning about such an incident from a third party; cumulative, analyzing combat photos or responder duties that involve dealing with bodies or body parts. In all 3 categories, there must have been a triggering event that could cause death or serious injury, such as a military sexual assault, militant attack, or friendly fire incident. Intrusion symptoms. PTSD is never the same in 2 different people, but most victims have at least one of the following symptoms. Recurrent, debilitating memories. Flashbacks. Dissociative reactions. Emotional distress after a traumatic event. Traumatic nightmares. Symptoms like these are quite common in the weeks after the stressor event. If they persist or do not get better, you may have PTSD. Avoidance. Some PTSD victims avoid anything that reminds them of the stressor, such as semi-violent movies, certain people, news stories about their country of deployment, or other particular places. Other people suppress memories. In both cases, trauma must accompany the avoidance. Negative feelings. Depression is not the only negative emotion that is associated with PTSD, because not all PTSD victims become severely depressed. Other negative emotions may include withdrawal, hopelessness, suspicion, and survivor's guilt. These symptoms must be severe enough that they interfere with normal activities on a regular basis. Heightened awareness. Most veterans are in red alert mode at one time or another, but PTSD exacerbates this response. Those who suffer with PTSD are in constant red alert mode. There are some collateral effects, such as heightened awareness, irritability, sleeplessness, lack of concentration, aggressiveness. A claimant must have at least 2 symptoms, which are usually hyper-awareness and 1 collateral symptom, to satisfy this part of the DSM-V. Duration and functional significance. These 2 things are technically separate criteria, but they often overlap. The symptoms must persist for more than a month, and they must impede normal activities. Attribution. The symptoms must be due to PTSD and not something else, like substance abuse. This element is often one of the most difficult to satisfy, as many veterans suffering from PTSD self-medicate with alcohol, illicit drugs or prescription medications. As long as the symptoms predate the substance use by at least a month, it can be argued that the alcohol or drug usage was secondary to PTSD and was caused as a result of the veteran's PTSD. All veterans have difficulties recovering from combat stress, and many people never get over it. For a free consultation with an experienced veterans disability lawyer, contact the law offices of Peter S. Cameron. We are here to represent veterans who have been denied PTSD benefits.
Thanks for watching. Drop a like, leave a comment, And don't forget to subscribe.